Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your March 2019 general reading. We are looking at the first half of March, the 1st through the 15th. Welcome to everyone here today. Welcome to any newcomers and to all you subscribers and returning people. Thank you to those of you who follow my channel regularly and for taking the time to send in all your comments and feedback and support. And thanks to all of my clients out there, regular and new, for keeping me always so busy with the personal readings. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. And as most of you who follow me know, if you are interested in a personal reading with me, live or recorded, you can get more info and contact details by clicking on the description bar below, or clicking on the description bar or link that's attached to any of the videos I post. And you can also go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on the About button there for the same information. Please feel free to email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I can usually respond to your initial response within the same day or the first 24 hours with more info. And scheduling personal readings is usually pretty good too. The turnaround time is fairly decent. I do readings full-time 5 to 6 days a week. It is the sum total of what I do. So I work pretty diligently with people's schedules to get them readings as quickly as possible. And I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life, love and romance, of course, compatibility, career, work and finance, investment readings, gift readings, as well as 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at everything that's coming in your life over the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far ahead you want to look. So there's a variety of options to choose from. If you're interested, just shoot me an email and we'll go from there. So moving right into this reading, this is for the water sign of Cancer for the first half of March 2019. Watch your rising and moon sign videos if you know them as well for additional clarification. Most of you know that general readings are always going to resonate a little differently for everybody watching. All right, Cancer, let's see what's in store for you for the first half of March. We begin with the Seven of Wands, followed by the Knight of Swords. Next we have the King of Wands, followed by the Six of Cups. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and advice for the first half of March is the King of Cups. So Cancer, overall energy and advice for the first half of March 2019. So we're looking basically from the 1st to the 15th. I put readings out every 2 weeks, and I usually do at the beginning of the month a look at the entire month, but I'm changing that, at least for the time being, since I do the last half of the month in 2 weeks. For the beginning of the month, we're going to take a look at the first 2 weeks so that it can be as definitive and precise as possible. So your crowning card, the card from the bottom of the deck representing overall focus and advice for the first half of March, is the King of Cups. Now for some of you, this is going to represent a water sign person, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, that might be significant to you in this period of time in March. For others of you, this is going to represent the energy as advice that you need to manifest for the first couple weeks of March. And this is about this is kind of playing the cool card, because the King of Cups is also the King of Cool. Now, Cups is water energy, and in the tarot, this is the element that represents the emotional feeling area of our life, relationships as well. Kings and Queens represent individuals who have reached the mastery of their suit, the top of their game, meaning that they've grown and matured and evolved beyond the young, immature page energy, that spontaneous, impulsive energy of the Knights, and now they've reached King or Queen, meaning they've reached a point of self-mastery and control over the character traits which are inherent to their suit. So this is Cup energy, so this is emotional energy, relationship energy. The King of Cups is often called the King of Cool because he's able to keep a pretty good balanced handle on his or her emotions. He's sometimes depicted as sitting on his throne in the midst of a body of water, and all around him the water might be choppy and wavy and somewhat turbulent, but he's sitting on his throne calm, cool, collected. He's a loving, nurturing, emotionally supportive man, particularly in relationships and with his friends. But he does not let his emotions get control of him. He is in control of his emotions. He is in touch and in tune with his emotions, but he does not allow all the decisions in his life to be completely emotionally driven. This is somebody who's very emotionally balanced and fairly calm. People like being around him because he kind of exudes that calmness. Even when there's crisis or chaos going on, he is able to focus more on the problem and the solution because he's not freaking out. His emotions are not getting the best of him. So as advice, Cancer, some of you may be playing your emotions rather on the cool side, or just as advice, it would represent something similar to the Temperance card, keeping an emotional balance through the first half of March as well. Because it looks like you have some energy from the past, or a person returning from your past. Could be a fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And it's interesting because this is a very similar feel and look as the reading that I did for Leo. So some of you may be dealing with a Leo individual, or a Leo Sag, or Aries individual as well, or someone with a lot of fire in their chart, because it looks like there's some information coming in that has to do with someone from your past returning. And I feel like they may be presenting an offer or an opportunity to you, but you may be feeling maybe a bit defensive about it, and that may be why some of you are playing it cool, as the King of Cups does, or the advice from Spirit is to play it cool. So we have around the end of February, beginning of March or so, we have the Seven of Wands and the Knight of Swords. So the Seven of Wands is a fairly defensive card, and it can be either positive or not so positive. This man is guarding the door to his home, his castle, his keep, or something that he has invested a lot of energy into, so he feels a sense of proprietary ownership over it, so to speak. He's very attached to it because he's put a lot of work into it. This could represent an actual piece of property, or it could represent standing up for yourself, a set of ideals or belief system, or someone else, something that you have a lot invested in because you feel like it's being challenged or threatened somehow. So it's a card of defensiveness, of standing by something that you have put a lot into, or you have a lot invested in. Now, the interesting thing that I notice about this card sometimes is, well, you can see that these wands pointing at him might be challenging him or coming at him, and he's standing there in a defensive posture, but you can't see the specific people or what the source of these other wands are. So sometimes this card represents a defensiveness where the root reason might be valid, particularly if this person returning from your past, maybe you've had a turbulent or negative history or some difficult issues with. But sometimes this card represents being too defensive and feeling like, you know, enemies or problems or issues are coming out of the woodwork, when you might be better served to ask yourself what is really being challenged and what exactly are you holding on to, particularly if what you're holding on to are, you know, anger, bitterness, and resentment from issues in the past with this individual. Because clarifying it is the Knight of Swords. Now, knights usually represent something coming in, offer an opportunity. This is swords energy. Now, swords is air energy, and in the tarot, this is energy of the head, mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. It's about what we think, our belief systems, our ideologies, our perceptions, because that affects the way that we look at things and relate to things and communicate to the world and people in the world, and how we see ourselves in the world. So truth, education, insight, higher learning, it's all about what goes on up in our head. So the Knight of Swords is delivering some kind of news, information of some kind, truth or clarity, or a truth coming out. It's not particularly emotionally driven, because the core cards of the Suit of Swords is air energy, and they can often come across as a bit emotionally cool or even detached. They don't necessarily mean to be, but if they represent people or the way something is coming in, it's coming in with the purpose being, here's the facts, here's the news, here's the information, and not particularly fueled by or colored by very much emotion. So I feel like for some of you, this person attached to your past, whether it's someone you've been broken up from or separated from or estranged from, I actually feel like the actual reunion or coming together or what this is maybe happened very recently. For some of you, it might be happening within the first half of March, but I feel like whatever's coming in is coming in now, or this person from the past is already present back in your life again, or is offering themselves back. They may be offering an explanation or an apology of some kind, but it may be coming across to you as perhaps not fueled as much by love or tenderness as you would want. They may be a person, I feel like they may be a person that expressing how they feel might be difficult for them, and so the way that they express it is very sometimes direct, maybe even coming across as kind of blunt. It's just their way of presentation. But I feel like there's a sense of defensiveness on your part about it, a sense of feeling very guarded and not wanting to let any of your guards down or to believe perhaps in what they're saying. I think they are quite sincere in what they're saying, but again, there's a sense of defensiveness. So while I think it's a good idea, as Spirit is advising, to play it cool meaning not emotionally detached or rude or anything like that, because the King of Cups is, somebody who will listen to this information coming in and perhaps proceed slowly, but he's not going to let his emotions completely drive this. He's going to just kind of play it cool. And so I feel like that's the advice for some of you, and I feel like for those of you who are coming from this very defensive place, it's completely natural, normal, and even needed sometimes when you have a rather negative or turbulent history with someone to have boundaries. But I think some of you may be going a little too far to the opposite end of the spectrum and being defensive. Now, next we have around the second week or so, we have the King of Wands and the Six of Cups. So here's this fire sign individual, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or somebody who's manifesting like a very charismatic, fire-oriented sort of person, very dynamic, probably easy on the eyes, and showing up as a king, a good worker, a good problem solver, leader, delegator, etc. And they can be rather fiery individuals, but they can also, I feel like this person, for some of you, might be an older person. He or she may have come from I don't often get this for the King of Wands, but I feel like whoever this represents, Cancer, may be coming from a background or a childhood environment or something where or perhaps they've had some negative relationship experiences where it's difficult for them to show their emotions in an emotional sort of way, which is why they may be coming across as the Knight of Swords. So just keep that in mind as well. Because I feel this person, for many of you, has already, like whatever the reconnection or the coming back together or this, them being back in your space again, I feel like for many of you, this has already happened, but very recently. Some of you, it might be happening in the first half of March. Now, clarifying the King of Wands is the Six of Cups, which is one of the soulmate cards. It's a card of childhood, nostalgia, history. Now, this doesn't necessarily need to be a love or mean a love and romance connection for all of you. It could be an old lover from the past. It could be an old friend from the past, or even a family member, because the Six of Cups can represent childhood nostalgia, where you grew up, how you grew up, family roots and origin. It can also represent a fair amount of history, so someone you have history with, or a karmic connection with as well. So I feel like a lot more is going to be revealed. This feels like, even though there's a lot of history and somebody's coming back into somebody else's space, they may be traveling back to see you, or may have traveled back to see you, or you to them. I think this is a more complicated situation, and much more will be revealed as time goes on. But I feel like there is, again, this defensive energy, and you're trying to play it cool, and you should, but I think it's going to be kind of a balancing act, because I feel like behind this defensiveness is some real pain and bitterness, regret, maybe some resentment as well. but I feel like there's an opportunity here for reconciliation or resolution moving forward. Let us see what this information or offer, this opportunity coming in, is about. Page of Cups and the Hierophant. So here's another card. Pages often represent messages or messengers. Here's that cup energy, that emotional energy again. So it could be maybe a rather stumbling over their own feet message of love or offer of love or encouragement, or it's like the pages represent kind of that tentative first reaching out. So it may be somebody coming in and sort of bringing some news or information, but trying to temper it with this. I definitely feel like it's in the emotional realm, but the Page of Cups is kind of hesitant about it. He's not really sure. And the interesting thing is that the card that came with it is the Hierophant, which represents convention and tradition. Walking the prescribed path, following the path that most people follow in whatever the situation represents. Some of you, it may be somebody coming back from the past, or someone that you've had a break or some kind of estrangement or separation or distance from. They may be, trying to deliver an explanation or an apology of some kind, kind of mixed or backed up with this sort of tentative, I still have feelings for you, or I still love you. Is that still there? Just kind of reaching out to test the waters. And it may be coming with, for some of you, maybe a marriage proposal or moving in, something of that sort. Or the willingness to talk about what the next conventional step in the relationship might be, regardless of the nature of that relationship. And again, it feels like they first come across just trying to be very factual, almost factual and just informative about it. But underlying it, it almost feels like they're kind of nervous about it or hesitant about it, because it represents something quite large and quite stable. It could represent, a conventional marriage on a conventional religious path, if that, the next, because the Hierophant also represents a deeper level of commitment and responsibility and on an established path that many, many people have walked before you. So, but still kind of tentative, nervous. They're nervous about it, even though they may try to mask that with a guise of being somewhat factual. And you're also trying to play it cool. And your advice is to play it cool, but not cold. We're talking about being emotionally balanced. And what I'm feeling is that, at least for this time period, being somewhat non-committal, being willing to let down your guard just a little bit, enough to hear what they're actually saying, and either proceed with caution or consider it and not be too, there's not a large committal feeling here. So the King of Cups would listen and be supportive. But I feel like moving forward, there needs to be more conversation and communication about what moving forward might be, and making sure that both of you are on the same page, regardless of the nature of this relationship, because it looks like there was a lot of history between the two of you, and some of that may have been rather difficult or painful history. Let's pull a final guidance card for you from Spirit for the first half of March. We have Justice as advice from Spirit. Justice is the reap what you sow card. The outcome of something will depend entirely upon your choices and decisions, not what you want to have happen or wish or dream for or intended, but what you actually choose and do. So the cautionary advice with Justice, particularly in any conversations or communication, to be honest, to speak your truth, not to be mean or rude about it, but to speak your truth and to operate with the highest level of honor and integrity as possible, because this is a card of karma. Justice represents that, the scales must be karmically even. And it depends on what you actually choose and do and say, and to be honest in all of your communications, which you should be to the best of your ability as much as possible, but it looks particularly important in the first half of March, Cancer, particularly in dealing with this person, either from your past or someone that you have a lot of history with. So Cancer, that pretty much wraps up your reading for the first half of March 2019. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, just click on the description bar below, or on any of my videos, and you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on the About button there. Please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com, and be most happy to work with you. I do lots of different types of readings of all different lengths and types and costs, so there's a variety to choose from. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided. That's a great little app that's good for quick answers to quick questions. There are other types of readings I offer through that as well. For complicated situations or complex love situations or the more traditional readings, just contact me and we'll set something up for you that will fit your needs. So I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the March 2019 mid-month readings. Until then, Cancer, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care. Bye-bye.